To it? Well, this gentleman is one of the ones who created this company over 10 years ago. And so please show him a lot of love and respect and just have some fun. And as I introduce you to Mike Murray.
Thank you all for coming. Who wants to hear the coolest story ever? Come on, man, I need some energy. Who wants to hear the coolest story ever? Not only is this the coolest story ever, it's a very true story. Believe it or not, guys, I used to be deaf. I was actually deaf until I was 40 years old. And then at 40 years old, I had the cochlear implants put in both ears, and now I can hear. How cool is that? How cool? That sounds awesome. Guys, I got my hearing about the same time people start losing their hearing. I'm like the Benjamin Button of sound. And it was rough growing up. Especially as a little kid. My father used to do that stupid magic trick all the time. You know that stupid magic trick? He would pull coins out of my ears. I mean, for years I thought that was the problem. But the worst thing for me, guys, was the breakfast table. The breakfast table. Imagine the breakfast table being horrible to you. It was horrible to me. Because I sat there the entire time with my head in the bowl of Rice Krispies. I know, especially because they were Cheerios. Guys, Cheerios don't say anything. But alphabets, loved alphabets. Oh man, that was like closed caption in a bowl. So 40 years, I suffered with adversity. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Nobody's perfect. We all have some sort of adversity. We do. Nobody's perfect. But will it stop you or will it move you? Will it be your excuse or will it be your fire? Nobody's perfect. We all have some sort of adversity, no matter what it is. Will it stop you or will it move you? Will it be your excuse or will it be your fire? And that's what I'm going to talk about today. How I dealt with adversity my whole life, even up to now. And I'm not going to tell you, you guys have interviews coming up for internships, so today is pretty cool. And so I'm not going to tell you how to send emails at 4 o'clock in the morning, how to return all these calls. That's not it. But if you can gain any motivation, any drive from the talk I give you today, that would be awesome. So growing up as a little kid, I didn't know I had a hearing loss until elementary school, where they gave me a free hearing test at the public school. And it was then that they realized how bad my hearing was. So instead of sending me to a deaf school, back then, because I'm an old dude, they decided to try something with me. They kept me in public school. So instead of going to gym class or home ec class, I had speech therapy and lip reading. Okay. And it was tough, guys. It was tough. That's adversity. Because unlike most people, you see somebody with a handicap. You can see it right away. Right? You can see your handicap right away. What am I going to do? I'm going to see you coming. I'm going to hold the door open for you. See somebody walking with a cane. What can I get you, sir? Right this way, sir. My disability is kind of invisible. You can't see a hearing loss. And millions upon millions of Americans have a hearing loss. And with that hearing loss comes a little stigma. So with some disabilities, you can see the limitations that person may have. With a hearing loss, you tend to get kind of like treated a little different. Like you're not smart enough. You'll ask questions. You'll say, I'll walk up to a bank and I'll say, can you repeat that? And they say, oh, it's not important. Oh, it's important. So I had to rely on other people. But growing up, in especially elementary school, like again, I didn't have a grasp on life. I didn't know where I was going. I just wanted to go to recess, right? And go to lunch. So it wasn't until like I started getting into middle school and high school when I actually saw the obstacles that I was gonna face. And I was really seeing the stigma of the hearing loss. And when you're in high school, it's tough. It's tough because you just want to belong, right? You just want to belong. So in high school, I kind of pushed down my disability. I used to fake it. I used to fake that I could hear, you know? I used to fake that I used to go to the movies with my friends. I did. I used to go to movies with my friends, but I would sit there the whole time going, what do you say? What do you say? And then he would tell me what they said, and I'd be like, what do you say? So I used to fake it, and you heard that term, fake it till you make it, you know? So I used to fake it because I was embarrassed of my disability. And when I say disability, that falls in the lines of adversity. That falls in the lines of adversity. Now it's one little thing in front of me. Now as I'm going through high school, I had the mentality that I wasn't disabled. I knew I was, but I had the mentality that I wasn't disabled. And that made me keep moving forward. It didn't stop me from doing things in high school. I ran cross country, I wrestled, I was senior class president, 1981, Central High School, Providence. Okay? I was part of any organization in school I became a part of. But the only thing that I messed up in high school, in hindsight, and this is hopefully maybe I can get you guys to not let that happen, learn from my mistakes. I didn't ask questions because of the stigma of me having the hearing loss. I didn't ask questions. I couldn't hear the teacher. I'm sure if I'd asked questions, they would help me. No doubt about it. But I didn't want to say I didn't want to hear you. In high school, it's tough. It's tough growing, you know? Peer pressure. So I just sat there, stayed back a few years, you know, summer school a few years, but I made it. I made it through, and now I became an adult. Graduated high school. Now when I graduated high school in 1981, it was a little different landscape than it is now. It was a little different landscape. Back then, you jumped right into the workforce. You know, most people now they do some, you know, secondary education, colleges and trade schools. We basically had in at a big company, and then you just kind of did the same thing. You know, almost like the steel mills and stuff like that. You just followed what the family was doing. Just followed what the family was doing. I was lucky enough to get a job at a major newspaper. At 18 years old. And it was awesome. It really was awesome. Very good paying job. Entry level. Didn't matter if I was deaf or not. I was gonna get this job. And it was easy. And it paid so good. It paid so good. And then I saw, wow. Just like I said earlier, I didn't know. I knew I was disabled, but it didn't stop me from wanting to be better. You hear talk about your weakness could be your strength, right? And your weakness is your adversity, right? But your strength is that you had to deal with that adversity. Now you're stronger than somebody that didn't face that adversity. Does that make sense? And that's the attitude I had. That is the attitude I had. Nobody's gonna stop me. I'm gonna do whatever I want. And I'm in this company now. I'm in this company and I love it. I love everything about it. And it was a big company. And I saw room for advancement all the way through. I plan on staying there for the rest of my life. And I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna show them that I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Showed up on time. I did all the things I was supposed to do. I was always on time. Never missed a day. Matter of fact, I didn't miss a day until 15 years into this company. I did not miss a day. Because I was trying so hard to overcome what I had and prove to these people that I'm the guy for you. Move me along. I'm the perfect for this place. But the only people that saw me as disabled were them, not me. Not me. So I'm chugging along, doing what I'm gonna do, and I'm saying, trying to get these jobs, and I'm applying for jobs and just getting shut down for the jobs. And back then there was no such thing as discrimination. There was no such. They would tell you right to your face, you're deaf. You're not good enough for the job. When I knew I was better for the job. So I'm doing this job, I'm trucking along, and it was awesome. It was awesome. Until I wanted to advance. And that's when I realized that other people saw me differently than I saw myself. And again, that's heartbreaking. That's a kick in the gut. That stops a lot of people too. I could have stayed in the small entry-level job for the rest of my life also, but growing up the way I did, I had bigger visions. But the only thing holding me back was my disability or adversity. And just like I said, nobody's perfect. We all have something. I don't care what it is. But my story today to you is hopefully you can gain some drive, maybe some wind behind you that you could do it. Okay? So I'm applying for jobs, being told no, being told no. Next thing you know, I'm at the company 18 years. 18 years, I'm married, have 3 kids, I have 1-year-old twins. And I tried everything to get a better job. And then after the 5th time being shut down, I decided if I'm gonna do better in my life, if I wanna move forward, because I am not happy over here, I gotta take it on my own. They're not gonna, they don't see what's in front of them. They do not see what's in front of them. Even though I was implementing everything about one of my favorite comedians is Steve Martin. He wrote a book, Born Standing Up. One of my favorite quotes, and it goes for comedy, business, whatever, is this: be so good they can't ignore you. Be so good they can't ignore you. Remember that, write that down. That quote covers everybody. Be so good they can't ignore you. I had that mentality. It was not good enough for them. I'm done here. So at that point, I realized what was going on. Somebody cleaned my carpets. Somebody cleaned my carpets in my apartment, and I was like, wow, they did a good job. They did a good job. You know what? I'll call them again when I want my carpets cleaned, because they did that good of a job. That's when it hit me. Now that's a pretty easy job. No, it's a lot of labor and everything, but I work with 3,000 people, and everybody knows me, everybody likes me. So, you know, I'm gonna buy a carpet cleaning machine. Now back then, you guys probably won't even notice, I had a Ford Pinto hatchback. Ford Pinto hatchback, that's how I rolled, okay? I bought a $3,000 portable carpet machine. I took the passenger seat out, I took the back seat out, that became my van. The machine in there, all the chemicals, and started passing the word that I now clean carpets. So now I'm supplement my income, but at the same time, I'm thinking, I'm building my business. I'm making my way out of here. That's what I was really doing. Because I had to take it in my own hands. Not worry about them. And that's what you gotta do. You gotta worry about you. Okay? Unless you're happy, punching that clock, doing that, being that person, making somebody else happy, somebody else rich, I'm like out of here. They're not giving me the chance. So I started building my company up on the side. At nights and weekends, I was cleaning carpets. So I'm like, this is gonna work. So then I took a job as a janitor at the company, same company, at night. So I worked the second shift at night as a janitor, part-time. so I could build the company during the day so I can actually leave this company. And I didn't know what I wanted to do my whole life. I didn't know what I want. I didn't want to be a carpet cleaner. I really didn't. But I saw an opportunity at the time and took it. And the opportunity was just having my carpets cleaned by somebody, and they did such a good job. And me putting it together. Oh, wow, I got 3,000 friends that would probably hire me. So I took a job at night, part-time, right? I had to go backwards before I could go forward. That's what I was doing. And in no time, I was building that business up to a next thing you know, I had 500 regular carpet cleaning customers. I had 18 offices and 22 Dunkin' Donuts and a cleaning service. And it was Murray's Cleaning Service. It said giant letters on the back of my van. Murray's Cleaning Service. You know what it said on the bottom? You know what it said on the bottom? And we're gonna go back to the Steve Martin quote. Be so good they can't ignore you. Now everybody knows about a janitorial service. Everybody and their sister and aunt has a janitorial service. It's a very cutthroat business. People will fire them all the time for a better rate. I never lost an account. I fired accounts. I've never lost an account. I built that up because I was the person that Dave was saying I wasn't good enough for a job. I was doing it for myself, and I was the best person for your job. I was the guy that was in your house going to do the best job for you. And the quote on the bottom of my truck said, the last janitorial service you'll ever need to hire. Giant letters across the whole truck. Because I capitalized on that. I used to get boots at the home show. At the home show, everybody walked past me. I'm the owner. You call me, I'm the guy that's gonna show up. And that's how I built my business. Then I went right from there. So now it's built up, I can leave. So I go home and tell my wife, in our new house that we had a mortgage, a car payment, 3 girls, 2 of them 1-year-old twins. And I told her I am quitting my job. Can you imagine the look on her face? Now she had faith in me. She knew she knew where I was coming from. But that's a hard thing to do, to get people on board with your goals. But don't worry about them. You keep worrying about yourself. Be so good they can't ignore you. So I left this job after 18 years. People thought I was nuts because I had benefits, a steady paycheck. It was really good. But if I'm gonna advance anymore, and like I said, I didn't want to clean carpets, but next thing you know, I'm cleaning carpets. Next thing you know, I'm cleaning offices. Next thing you know, I'm a property manager. I did everything. Power washing. I had a hot dog cart. I sold hot dogs on the side. I did everything to make ends meet and move forward. And you don't know, we got some young people in here and some older folks in here. I'm gonna tell you something from a man that, I'll be 63 in June, is it never stops. It never stops. We're always looking for that next thing. Does that make sense? I don't know, I mean, I ended up falling into what I'm doing now, and I'm in love with it. But that took me 45 years. So it's never too late to start again. It's never too late to start again. It's all about you if you want to move forward. If you want to stand still, that's fine. If you want to move backward, that's fine. If you want to move forward, it's all up to you. Okay? And if it's in somebody else's hands, be so good they can't ignore you. So I left this company after 18 years. Now my hearing was really bad. Every single customer I had to deal with, they had to write things down. My wife had to talk to them before. My husband's gonna be coming to your house. If you need to talk to him, that's fine, just write it down for him so he knows he gets the message across. He gets the message across. Then there's opportunities, when you see opportunities. Okay? Just like I saw the opportunity, somebody cleaning my carpets, I'm gonna clean carpets. Okay? After I left this company, about 8 years later, I got invited to a conference. where there was a person with cochlear implants talking. And I went. My hearing doctor sent me to this conference. And I went there, I listened to them and everything, did the best I could. My wife was actually listening for me. And on the way home, she said, "What do you think?" I said, "Nah, nope, not for me." Why? I'm not having them put stuff in my head. What if 10 years down the line, they come up with something different? I got this stuff in my head. I was wrong. That's not how it works. All the upgrades are done on the outside of the head. So, just like in school, I didn't ask questions. Missed the opportunity. I could have had my hearing 10 years before I received my hearing. And those 10 years, I'm telling you, were the worst years of my life. There's nothing more degrading than walking into just a Wendy's and saying, going up to the counter, "All right, I'm deaf. I'm gonna order something word for word, exactly what I want. Please don't ask me any questions because I'm deaf. I'm gonna take number 1, medium with a Coke." And then you ask me a question. Every time. Every time. Every single time I went in there. And it took me a couple of years. You know what question they were asking me? "You want to supersize that?" And it was something so simple. But that something so simple was the worst thing for me. I couldn't go into a bank. You go into somewhere special, you go into a bank and just ask simple questions and you say, "Can you repeat that?" No. It's not important, just like we said earlier. So you become dependent on other people. I missed the opportunity to get the hearing to become independent. So 10 years later, I'm cleaning carpets. And I show up to this woman's house, and my wife already gave her the information about me. And as soon as I walked in, she seemed really excited to talk to me for some reason. And she said, "Oh, my brother was deaf." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry." She said, "Oh, no, he's not dead. He's got the cochlear implants. He can hear now." And I really never talked to anybody that had a direct connection with somebody who had implants. I said, "Oh, how's his hearing?" She said, "Well, put it this way. He tells me to be quiet." I said, "What's your doctor's name?" She gave me the doctor's name, right? Dr. Brian Duff. Now back then, we're going back 23 years ago, guys. Back then, there was no such thing as texting. Deaf people were the original texters, by the way. We had the sidekick and we would send an email. We were the originals, the OGs of texting. So right away, I text my wife, make an appointment with Dr. Duff. I was so excited. Because for years, every doctor, just like employees, said, "We can't help you. There's nothing we could do. Learn sign language." This guy, I set up an appointment. I go through a battery of tests, over a month of tests, trying to see if I met the criteria to be a candidate for the cochlear implant. And after that, he said, "I can help you. I can help you." So to give you an idea of how bad my hearing was, you ever do one of those word recognition tests? You're sitting in a booth, a soundproof booth, and they got the screen, and they say the word boat. I would say sneaker or something. I got 0 right on a 1-hour test. No words right. I could hear them talking. I just didn't know what they were saying. Believe it or not, most deaf people can hear things in sounds, just like most blind people can see shapes and colors. I can hear you talking, I just didn't know what you're saying. That's why sometimes you'll see a deaf person with hearing aids, like, why do they wear hair? Because there's a little something there. Maybe, hopefully, they'll hear the truck barreling down the street. I scored 0% on the word recognition test. After the first implant, just one implant, I scored 85% correct on the same test, word for word. He said, "Let's do the other one." I said, "Let's do it." A year later, I got the second one done. 100% on the same test. Now, this is a soundproof environment, but I'm sure all of you have even issues in the soundproof environment. You get some words wrong. And in regular life, you hear some words wrong. And that was no different for me. So I got the 2 implants. Now I can hear. I'm pop. Now all that adversity and obstacles that I was facing, gone. I'm Superman now. Who's gonna stop me? That company's gonna wish I was back there. But I already built something for myself. And I was happy. It was paying bills. But again, I didn't know what I wanted to do for a living. I really didn't know. And I always had a sense of humor though. Always has had a sense of humor. My sense of humor was my default when stuff went down. I would tell a joke, a knock-knock joke. I was really good at memorizing jokes. So I was proactive in a group atmosphere. I always started telling the jokes, but then when they started talking to me, I would just back up and be like, hey, you know, I'm just a funny guy. Right? But that was my thing. That's how I met my wife, you know? So I get my hearing. I'm feeling nothing's gonna stop me now. I could do whatever I want. And then again, another opportunity presented itself to me. Now I seized on the second opportunity to get the cochlear implants. So I already learned from missing that one. I'm gonna keep my eyes and ears literally open for any opportunity that comes my way. Because I know how important it is to recognize opportunities. Tomorrow when you have your interviews, or this week when you're gonna see those opportunities. And you're gonna be so good they can't ignore you. So I get my hearing. This changes everything. So I'm telling jokes as normal at a pool party, and my friend's like, hey, you think you're funny? And of course I'm like, oh, yeah, of course I'm funny. You know? And he makes a phone call right in front of me, and he calls a gentleman named Frank O'Donnell. At the time, Frank O'Donnell ran a comedy boot camp, stand-up comedy boot camp. And he says, hey, I want that guy in the next class. He signed me up. I got an email saying, you've been signed up for a comedy boot camp class. What is the comedy boot camp? It was 8 weeks sitting in a room, twice a week. You had like 10 other wannabe comics, and you would work on a 5-minute set, and you would perform for the very first time in front of a live audience at Twin River Casino in Lincoln, Rhode Island. 200 people. Now, to the normal person, public speaking is horrifying to you. It's horrifying to you. But for what I had to deal with all my life, that's easy. That's nothing. So it was a little cool thing. I had a little advantage there. Seizing on that opportunity too. Plus I had a story. I went from the non-hearing wheel to the hearing wheel. Right? Because the jokes are simple. They write themselves. I went from the non-hearing wheel to the hearing wheel. But that day, guys, when they flicked that switch and sent me from the non-hearing wheel to the hearing wheel, I learned one thing. Farts make noise.